Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me for our Root Down to Rise Up yoga practice. Tonight you will be needing 2 blocks, and if you don't have those, we've been getting creative using old books, cans of soup, and a blanket. I'm going to be using a towel just because I don't have any blankets at the ready at this moment. As always, we'll continue to be exploring what feels good in our own practice. If at any time you need to take a moment, take a moment. So with that being said, we are going to begin our practice tonight from a standing position. So let's go ahead and meet at our mat. So standing at your own mat tonight, I would suggest maybe just feeling the connection to the floor. And whether you are using a towel as a mat tonight or an actual mat, maybe you can feel some of the stickiness, the difference in the texture versus where your floor is. So if you'd like to feel that as well, just kind of moving the feet around, feeling the difference. Notice the body and standing in a way that just feels comfortable to you today. So maybe that's about loosely hip distance or shoulder distance apart. Having a fan going if that is needed. And just checking in with how your day has gone so far from an energetic standpoint, where you're feeling. You might gauge that from 0 feeling as though maybe you're empty of energy, and 10 being that maybe your battery is completely full. We'll check back in at the end. And in the meantime, just practicing, having fun, exploring. So as we begin to work on our breathing, tonight I'll give you 2 options so we can work on that 3-part breathing we've been doing pretty regularly, or Ujjayi breathing. And Ujjayi can be a bit of stimulating breath, also our ocean breath, and it's quite noisy. So it would be that constriction of the back of the throat, taking a deep breath in, letting it go through the nose again. Breath in, maybe imagining the waves traveling up. Exhale down. Breath in and up. Exhaling down. Keep that going, or if you were practicing on that 3-part breath, we've been breathing into the belly, breathing out, pulling the belly back in. Inhale, extend it outward. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale, belly may extend, maybe the rib cage starts to open up, or even the chest expanding. And then exhale, relax all the way back down. Belly relaxed and soft. Continue to cycle through a few breaths. Again, we're still traveling up to the top of the chest and then exhaling down, whether you're going to do that 3-part or Dirga Pranayama versus Ujjayi. Practicing in a way that feels organically good to you today and having fun. So don't take yourself too seriously. We're just practicing. And ideally, we're going to ground down to the floor and feel as though we are connected to our higher selves or to that crown chakra. So as we're breathing in and out, just kind of moving the body around. So maybe the neck wants to go side to side, or a passive roll here. Come back to neutral. Bring your own left hand towards your hip. Take the right hand, reach up to the sky. We're going to reach up and over to the left. Maybe our hips travel over to the right. Stay here for another breath. Breathing in. Breathing out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, rise and switch out those arms, right hand to hip, Left hand to sky as you exhale, reach out and over to the right, hips to the left. Breathing in. Breathing in. Inhale. Exhale. Back up to center and relax your arms, your legs, the legs around a bit. I like to think of jazzercise movements, so go to the side, then walk your feet. And then allowing the arms to be nice and loose here. As you continue to breathe, you're letting the arms flop around. Choose to slightly press into the body. We're wrapping all the way around towards that space of the kidneys. This motion always reminds me of being, childlike or friendly in nature. Typically, as an adult, we don't tend to do these kind of things. Right, begin to slow it down. Arriving back at center. Again, moving those legs, finding that freedom. Perhaps rolling over the big toe. I like to bring the foot to experience the outside, the inside. And there's limited range of motion depending on which way we move the foot. You could do the same thing with the other side. Rolling over those toes. It is not a common experience for us to feel that stretch through the front of the foot. In, outward, hips moving, energy moving tonight. And then take your right arm, lift it up to the sky and connect to the tip or the top of your left ear. Inhale, lengthen here. As you exhale, take your right ear over towards your right shoulder. We're not yanking or pulling, just use the weight of your own hand to assist you in this next stretch. Breath coming, breath going. Absolutely normal for you to forget to breathe. Just pick it back up and hear that cue. Relax the arm, the head, and now the left hand may travel to the right ear, and then guiding it over. Breath coming and going. Like to encourage keeping a soft base. Clenching the teeth or biting the tongue between the upper and lower teeth. And then relax that side. Maybe take a breath in and out. From your position here, let's do our first forward fold. So grabbing your block or blocks. Beginning from a side position, we are going to bring the blocks down to the ground. And you'll notice mine are on their tallest setting for now. Be aware that this is tall, this is medium, and that is small. And perhaps your fourth size would be none. So as you're standing here, place those blocks about shoulder distance apart. Standing tall, let's bring our hands to our lower back and begin to press the hips gently forward, lift the chest, elbows squeezing towards one another. Exhale, begin to fold at the hip hinge. Maybe freedom of bending the knees, and then bring the palms down to the blocks. Maybe the head wants to drop today as well. Feel that connection from the feet, perhaps up towards that midpoint or the hips, and then connecting on a downward diagonal or straight over again from the hips to the head. Breathe in and breathe out. Bring those blocks a little bit more forward. Begin to put some weight into it, trusting that the worst thing will happen is that you fall over. So maybe your heels lift up and then reaching back with the hips, maybe a set of toes or the toes lift. And do that 2 to 5 more times, breathing in, breathing out, traveling back, feeling the shoulders open up. in, and then the breath out. Moving in, move back on the exhale, and stay for 2 more. Or when you feel prepared to do so, allow the hands to travel to your shins. We're going to try to straighten the spine in a half lift. So tighten up the abdomen. Bring those hands anywhere but the knees, so we shouldn't be pressing our knees back. It's not going to feel great. So on the shins, or if you can create a flat back, keep the knees slightly bent and fingertips can rest on the floor. So our options are going to be C, B on our shins, or A on our thighs. Either way, we're glancing forward. This is our half lift or our L shape to our body. And then exhale, slide back down. Notice what you need here. We could have the legs straight if we're feeling a bit more mobile, flexible today, or keep your knees bent as you fold over. With purpose, tightening up the abdomen, rise up nice and slow, keeping the back in its neutral, natural position. Hands back to the lower spine, lift the chest, exhale, relax back to center. Relax those knees, maybe lift one up, shake out the leg, around some circles. Alrighty. And again, that hip distance, draw an imaginary line, that would be our hips or shoulders. And at least in my own teachings, skeletal alignment can be a pretty safe place to practice. So finding those bony points, that can be a generally safe place for you to begin. Hands on hips, we're just going to draw a few circles with the hips. Breathing in, breathing out. 2 more in the direction you're going right now. And then switch it. Let's warm up here before we get into our sun salutations. Ideally creating some of that heat in our bodies today. All right, finish up whichever circle you are making right now. And again, meet your body where it is asking you to. Take the arms out in front, bend the elbows, bring them as close towards one another as possible. Inhale, open up. Squeeze the shoulder blades, maybe hug the elbows in towards the lower body. And then exhale, bring them back in, curl down. Inhale, open up. Exhale, curl back in. 2 more, breath in, open out. Exhale. Last one, breath in. Breath out. Arms fall, head begins to lift. We put our shoulders back where we would like them. That allows us to keep our chest open, so sliding down the back. Let's practice 3, I love odd numbers, 3 half sun salutations. And we'll do that from 2 different positions. So just in case you are unfamiliar, we'll start together right at the front of your mat so that you can still see the video. Bring the palms outside. So if they're facing inward, maybe we extend them outward. My knees are not locked in flamingo style, so legs should not be going outward from the back of the knees. Feel that connection with your feet again, so maybe lifting big toes, all the toes, spreading them apart, feeling that grippiness of the mat beneath of you or towel or whichever surface you are practicing on tonight. And then let's draw the arms out to the sides and up to the sky on a breath in, palms touching. As you exhale, retrace that space. We are going to bend over at our hips again. Head drops. Breath in, come up halfway. Know that you can use those blocks as needed. Look forward. Exhale, slide your way down. I'm just doing halves here. So from this point, inhale, sweep the arms back up to the sky. Glance to your thumbs. Perhaps roll your arms back into your back bend. Exhale those hands down to your heart, down by your side. Let's do 2. Breath in and up. Perhaps a back bend again. Exhale, floating down. Inhale, rise up halfway in that version we discussed earlier. Exhale, floating over. And then inhale, rise. Exhale to heart. On your side, sweep into your last half here, breathing in. Exhale, folding downward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, slide. Rise, breath in. Exhale to heart. Take a moment, perhaps close your eyes, and see what is showing up in your own body or spirit. What can you feel? What memories, emotions, thoughts travel to the surface? Come back to your breath. Moving into the belly, towards the rib cage, up to the top of the chest, or again, restricting the back of the throat or constricting the back of the throat, and inhaling nice and deeply into an audible breath. Exhale. Take 2 more breaths, just as you are. Breath in, travel up. Exhale, travel back down. 1 more up. And then exhale, back to center. So a few rounds of full Surya Namaskar. Know that if you need to take a break for allergy-related support, do that. And when I practice my full Surya Namaskar A or Sun Salutation A, I tend to move my blocks out of the way so that as I do full breath, they're not restricting how much space I have. So towards the top of your mat, enough space that we can get to plank towards the end. Have your blanket handy if the floor is a little too hard on your knees tonight. So from the top of your mat, arms down by your sides. Let's go ahead and breathe in, send the arms up towards the ceiling, perhaps that back bend. Exhale, draw the arms out to the sides, hands down towards the floor as you fold over. Lift up halfway, inhale. Exhale, bring the palms down to the floor about shoulder distance apart and step 1 foot back at a time or jump back. And we find that our wrists and our shoulders are under over each other. We're not sliding down with our pelvis. Stay here for a breath, keep breathing, and our butt is not up in the air in like a quasi downward facing dog. Okay, so from here, maybe you need to drop your knees down, and that is perfectly fine. Or rock forward, rotate the front of the elbows forward, bend back with the elbows and lower to the ground. And move my block out of the way again. Untuck those feet, hug the elbows in, lift the chin up off the floor while paying attention to your back. Exhale, lower back down. Inhale, lift again. What's in your practice, press into the arms, keep the elbows bent in your cobra here. Or look up. Stay for a breath. We're taking this one a little slower. A little pit stops along the way. And then rise to all fours back towards child's pose. So bottoms towards those heels, chest lowering towards the thighs, center of the forehead touching the ground. And any variation you've practiced in your yogic lifetime. Maybe it's bringing those knees as wide as the mat, big toes staying together, and then allowing more of a space to breathe. Or if the chest or abdomen require more space, that can help us to create that. Or you could stay propped up on the forearms. Traditional Balasana, sending the hands back towards the heels and resting the back of the arms down to the floor, giving the shoulders a break. Once we're here, we reconnect with that breathing, inhaling completely, exhaling fully, in, back in. Stay connected with this last breath. And no matter which variation of child's pose you're doing, let's take the arms out in front. Begin to walk them over towards your right side. Nice and slowly till you find that or discover that spot. This seems to be enough tonight. Then lower the self back down. Maybe the head connects with the floor. Hover if you'd like to hover. Another breath here. And then over the other breath. Same practice. So 2 or 3 breaths. Deeply. Softening the face, maybe adding in a soft smile on the exhale. Connect with those points of the earth, floor, ground, and then bring the hands back to center. We're going to extend them out in front, spread the fingers, press into all parts of the hand and the pads of the fingers. Begin to lift yourself up towards all fours. Tuck the toes under and explore downward facing dog. Tighten up the abdomen and then lift the knees up off the ground. Stay there or begin to press the floor away. Then straighten the legs a little bit here or a whole lot. And so you get to decide what your downward facing dog will look like. Feet tend to be about hip distance apart. I notice a lot of my students and patients bring their feet together. Let some space happen. All right, so breathing in, breathing out, ears between the biceps. And if you're a bit more flexible, then we could drop those heels down, but ideally not at the expense of our lower back. So if it creates a funky arch to your back, a rounding to your back, we don't need to get those heels down. Imagine lengthening from your fingertips towards your tail. Now look forward. Step 1 foot towards the hands. All right, a lot of people get stuck halfway. Do the best you can. You can always pick it up, move it, or step to the outside of the hand and then move it inward. All right, step the other foot to meet. Breathe in, come up halfway into that half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse, rise up to the ceiling. Possible back bend. Exhale, hands down. Shake it out, wiggle it out, whatever your body is asking you to do. All right, that was a slow sun salutation A with many stops along the way. Let's do about 3 more of those, but we're going to speed up the pace a bit. All right, so from the top of the mat, feet hip distance apart or connected to the earth. Drop the arms down by your sides. Inhale, rise up to the sky. Exhale, use the breath to get to the floor on an exhale. Inhale, up halfway, lifting up. Exhale, palms down, feet back. Lower to knees, chest, chin, or rock forward. Lower down. Inhale, untap the feet, cobra or up dog. Exhale, let's go straight to down dog. So maybe it's all fours or high plank and sending the legs back. That's our exhale. Inhale, one foot to the hands, the other foot to the hands, lift up half the legs, flattish back. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, rise back up to the ceiling. Bend. Exhale to heart by your sides. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, half lift. Exhale, connect to the floor, take it back, forward and down. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, down dog. Feet to hands. Breath in, lift up the body halfway. Exhale, fold it over. Inhale, rise to sky. Exhale, hands to heart. One more, breath in. Exhale. Inhale, half up. Exhale to the floor, step back, all on that same release of the abdomen. Breath, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, down dog. Inhale to hands. Exhale, fold over those legs. Inhale, rise. Exhale, down. Take a gentle forward fold, sliding down the front of the legs, bending knees, grabbing a block if you would like, and letting those hands dangle. Begin to sway. Sometimes the hands on the floor get in the way here, so maybe you reach for opposite forearms or elbows. Really notice the bottom of the feet here. Smoothness, roughness, softness, firmness of the ground. Discovering center, relaxing those hands, and again rising up the purpose. Perhaps hands to the back, open the chest. Beautiful. See what's showing up. Hey, let's take our right foot back. So as wide as you're comfortable with here, you're going to discover warrior 2 first. Right, so pelvis pointing generally towards the front of our mat, left knee over the ankle, back leg long and strong, parallel to the back of the mat, or slightly bringing the heel back a bit further than the toes. Okay. Hands on hips, down by your side, or sweep the arms up to the ceiling. Breathe in deeply here. Maybe you rise up, you straighten that front leg just a little bit. And then exhale, bend the knee, settling here. Keep that back leg active. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breath in. As you breathe out, turn towards your right. Drop your arms out like you are surfing. Palms facing down, arms even with one another. And rather than sticking the butt out or creating a flat lower back, find that neutral space where your hips and your tailbone and the structure of the pelvis is supporting its natural movement. So if you're curious as to what I'm talking about from the side, sometimes people, while they're in their warrior 1, they tend to kind of pop the hips back, or they tend to tuck the tailbone, which then is creating the opposite movement. So can we find a neutral position where our natural curves of the spine are being supported? All right, so from that warrior 1, it may feel nice to straighten the front leg for a second, give that thigh a break, and then go right back into it. So our front foot is pointing to the front of the mat, our back foot is supported, pinky side being down, maybe big toe side being down. And we'll stay for a breath. Look over your left hand, that front hand. Bring the right hand down to the back of the thigh. Inhale, flip the front hand, bring it up towards the ceiling, or begin to reach up and over. Stay for a breath in and a breath out. One more inhale after that. As you exhale, begin to come forward. Bend the front forearm, place it gently on your thigh. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, sweep the right arm up to the sky, stop here. Or begin to reach up and over, flipping that palm down towards the earth. Create a long line from the fingertips of the right hand down towards that right leg. Stay for 2 more breaths. Side angle here. Feeling our legs waking up. More breath in. Exhale. Inhale, rise back to warrior one. Straighten the front leg. Let's begin to reach forward. Bring that hand down anywhere but the knee. If you would like to maybe work a bit more with engagement, take the back of the left hand to the inside of the left leg. Right hand on hip or reaching up to sky. Feeling a bit unstable here, we can look down at the floor or peek up towards your right hand, your right thumb. Keep breathing. Any discomfort or instability in that front knee, feel free to bend it. Bring your top hand down to meet your bottom hand, bending that front knee. Frame out the foot, one hand on either side, come up onto the ball of the back foot. Send that leg back towards downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. Keeping with that side, lift the left leg up off the ground. Maybe it goes all the way up towards the ceiling. As you're in three-legged dog, inhale. As you exhale, let's bend the knee, bring it in towards the chest. Crunch forward towards the left elbow. Inhale, back up to sky. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, send it back. Exhale, send it forward. Inhale, back up to sky. Drop that foot down. Let's move on to the right side of our Dancing Warrior Challenge. So step your right foot forward. Drop the back foot to the side. I'm going to turn so that you can see a bit easier. Right foot's forward, back foot down. Rise up. Warrior one, we're facing towards the front of our mat again. Pelvis and collarbone generally pointing that direction. Inhale, sweep the arms to the sky. Soften those shoulders. Any tension that is not necessary, will we let it go. Breathe in deeply. Exhale, root down if you're going to try straightening that front leg and then going so that the right knee is over the ankle. Turn to face the left. Drop those arms outward. Take a deep breath in. Smooth breath out. Finding that neutral alignment with the pelvis again. So not popping it out, not sneaking it under. Just that normal, natural curve of the spine. Exhale, let the left hand fall to the back of the left leg. And then inhale, swoop the right arm up to the sky, perhaps even up and over into our revolved warrior. Stay for 2 breaths. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breath in. As you breathe out, begin to straighten the right arm, bend at the elbow. Place it gently on the thigh. We're not collapsing here, just nice and gently. Think of it as like an aesthetic thing. Take the left hand, maybe it goes up to the sky, breathing in. As you breathe out, maybe we continue to flow here. bringing that arm to be on the diagonal line. If you've been practicing this one and you want to go into a further variation, I support that. Just listen to your body. Let's stay for one more breath. Rise back to your warrior one shape. Warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Reach forward. Bring that hand down anywhere but the knee. Perhaps we bring the inside of the right hand to the inside of that leg, keeping more of the engagement through the body rather than, it's not any less if you hold on to the leg, but it can be that we just put all of our weight down this leg. Look to either hand. Breathe in and breathe out. And you have this opportunity, if your camera is on, to see your own alignment. Are the arms stacked under over? You need to bend the elbows. Are you reaching way back? One more breath in. Bring that hand down on your exhale. Let's reframe. Come up onto the ball of the back foot and either bring the right foot to the floor or go automatically into your three-legged dog. Breath in. As we breathe out, bring the right knee towards the right elbow. Maybe you shift forward. Inhale back. Exhale forward. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, send it up one more time. Drop that foot down. Hang out in downward dog for a breath. And drop the knees to the floor. Child's pose. Release the toes. Shifting back into any version that works well for your body. And settle for about 5+ breaths. Softly begin to make your way onto the elbows and then forward so that our forearms are underneath of our shoulders. The elbows are underneath the shoulders, but we are pressing our palms down into the earth. Some options include forearms down, thumbs being that medial point or the middle point, palms together, or hands just pressing towards one another. I like to interlace and hold on that way. From this, either playing around with dolphin plank or dolphin pose. So walking the feet back, lifting one leg, the other leg, and looking forward here. Or begin to walk the feet in, similar to downward facing dog. Keeping the knees nice and loose here. Thinking about the belly button going towards the thighs. Head is likely going to stay up off the ground. Two more breaths. And softly lower down to the knees, whether you're in plank or dolphin. And bring the palms down to the floor. Last few movements before we get to the ground. Let's do some cat and cow. So gently sway the hips left and right for a moment. Perhaps draw your left ear towards your left shoulder and left hip. And then right ear towards right shoulder. And then that towards the right. From our all fours, or this stance, tabletop, we'll go through threading the needle. So start with your right hand. Inhale, lift it up towards the sky. As you exhale, let's find our first stopping point. Could be resting on the forearm. Feel free to stay there or slide the back of the arm through, resting it on the floor, and our right temple or cheek come into the mat. This will be our second stopping point. Additionally, you may wish to take your left hand and extend it out in front of you, similar to that extended child's version. 3 more breaths on this side. On that last inhale. And as you exhale, return your left hand wherever it began. Inhale, lift the right arm up to the sky. Exhale, bring it to the floor. Left side, inhale, send it up. Exhale, weave it through, stopping on forearm. We're sending the entire back of the arm to the floor. Left temple or cheek to the mat. Right hand hanging out right where it is or extended out in front. And 3 breaths on this side as well. For that last exhale, return the right hand. Inhale, lift the left arm back up to the sky. Exhale, bring it down. And those cat and cows that I had mentioned. Drop the belly. Begin to look forward and forward and out. Breath in. Exhale, round. Move that tail towards the ground. Head drops down. Inhale, forward. Exhale, round. Inhaling. Exhaling. Opening. Close. Softly walk the hands back towards you. Walk over towards your left. Lower down to the left hip. Swaying the legs around. And the lower arm to our backs. Once we get to the floor, discovering bridge pose, and then shoulder stand, and our roll down before Savasana. So without having to squirm and look, bring the ankles underneath the knees, feet flat on the floor. Bring the palms down on either side. And I like to tuck the shoulder blades gently in. So to do that, I will squeeze underneath, and then I'll kind of lean over to the side, squeeze the left shoulder blades under. Doesn't feel uncomfortable, at least in my own body, but I know that my chest will be a bit more open that way. So gently looking up at the ceiling or looking at the video for just a moment before you begin to lift up. We're avoiding that backwards movement that tends to happen. Think lifting to sky. Allow the throat to stay open. So imagine a flashlight and you have this beam of light shining up on your ceiling, that if our chin and our chest begin to scrunch down towards one another, that light will no longer shine. So allow that to stay open, and that will translate into our shoulder stand as well. From here, tightening up the abdomen, seeing if we can begin to elevate the pelvis by pressing into our feet. Continue to breathe, lifting up till you find that spot where it's just enough for today. Squeezing those glutes, those cheeks, feeling perhaps an external rotation through the thighs, but the inner toes are still on the mat. We're not trying to bring the knees together or allow them to fall out to the side, perhaps just neutral alignment. Really use the backs of the upper arms, the palms, the fingertips to support yourself. 3 more breaths. Breathing in an Ujjayi breath, or your 3-part breathing. Use that exhale to gently lower your pelvis on the 3rd breath. And just doing one of those for now. Bring one knee towards the chest and the other one, giving yourself a soft or tight squeeze. Perhaps your nose wants to come towards those knees. And then relax. So it may seem similar. We could do legs up the wall as an option instead of shoulder stand. So really being mindful if it doesn't work for your body, or you're experiencing a lot of neck pain, high blood pressure, or we have a lot of hardware in our backs, then we want to avoid this. Pay attention to yourself. If it feels good, try it. If red flags show up, such as pain or the inability to breathe, then we get out of it. So first option with legs up the wall, minus the wall, is just to elevate the legs up in the air. They do not need to be straight. They can have a slight bend, and you will be looking towards those toes. Second option would be to put a block underneath the sacrum, and then lift the legs up with the palms down on the floor. Or if you will be joining me in shoulder stand tonight, let's have the shirt in. Let me move down so that we have some more room to play with. Palms are facing down, and ideally we want to have the core strength so that we're not relying only on that momentum, but we'll get there, right? So with the legs up in the air, or using a small amount of momentum, we want to bring the legs back far enough that we can bring our palms to support our lower back, creating that fulcrum and that supported, it's almost like a tripod. Okay, so from here, belly engaged, we'll start to flip the palms. They're going to go to our lower back. Elbows are not super flared out here. Perhaps we align the big toes over the throat. Let that same light of the throat shine. Breathe in, breathe out. I'm going to stay for 4 more breaths. Get out sooner if you need it. Gently begin to bring the legs back. Release the hands. Bring the knees towards the chest as you gently pull out of it. Straighten the legs. Bring the palms underneath of the buttocks. And shoulder blades are going to tuck under it again. We're going to be experiencing our fish pose. Move anything that's in the way. Toes are pointed. And then begin to press into the elbows and the forearms. And we bring the crown of the head to rest softly on the neck. And breathe out. Opening. Closing. 2 more. Breath in. Exhale. Inhale. As you exhale, lift the head up, gently lower down. Release the hands. Bring those legs into the body. And maybe you rock back in and forth as you continue to breathe, or doing some circles, sending the knees around with those knees together. Or I like crisscrossing the ankles. You could also do happy baby, but I tend not to teach that. I teach more of a trauma-sensitive version with the ankles crisscrossed. Just a few of those circles. The opposite direction. Next time you're closest to center, slow it down and eventually stop. Uncross those ankles. Keep the right knee in towards the body. Send the left foot to the floor or straighten that leg, letting the entire left leg rest on the floor and pulling the right knee in towards the chest. Move the ankle around. Notice all those Rice Krispies that might happen. Soften the leg. Take the right hand away, and if you have space for it, bring it out like a T. Bring the right knee not so intensely inward if it's hard for you to connect your left hand and right knee. Let's twist over to the left. Let the right hip come up, but perhaps your right shoulder can stay down. A few breaths here. You might even choose to look over towards the right shoulder. Bring the leg back, rolling hips back to the ground. And then pull the left leg in. Keep the right foot on the floor or straighten the leg to the ground. Move the ankle. Relax the foot. Keep that right hand on the left knee, releasing the leg just a bit if it's too close to the body. Take the left arm, maybe it goes out like a T on this side. Let's twist over to the right, allowing that left hip to leave the floor, left shoulder to stay connected, perhaps looking over towards that left hand. Our last few breaths together before Savasana. Softly come back to center. See if there are any last movements that you need before we find that rest together. If there is not, let's move towards Savasana. Permitting those legs to go as wide as our mat, a little bit wider. And any restlessness, let the feet pop in and out a few times. And then softly settling outward. Bring the hands as wide as those feet have gone, palms facing up. And for the nose and the chin to be facing towards the ceiling. Soften the eyes, close them. The breath returning back to its spontaneous pattern where it doesn't need you to control it any longer. Surrender where you can while you're here. So letting go of any force or inflicting, perhaps on the hands. Just let those fingers go softly. Let those thoughts travel without dissecting or getting lost in them. And together here, we will breathe in that peaceful sensation spontaneously and naturally for about 4 to 5 minutes. Stay here. Softly begin to become a bit more aware of your surroundings. Adding gentle movements to the neck, arms, legs, and in a pace that works well for you, perhaps rolling over to one side and eventually coming up to a seated position. Move your head in every direction, so up, down, right, left, right ear towards right shoulder, left ear towards the left shoulder. And when we get back to center, let's bring the hands together into that prayer position that we did many times in our sun salutation A. And I'll ask you to bring the thumb knuckles gently in front of the space of your heart. Gently close your eyes for a moment. May we listen to our hearts. Find that freedom in traveling through our emotions and our wisdom. And finding gratitude. And then bring those knuckles towards the lips. May we speak truthfully. May we use our words to be purposeful, useful, and kind. And then bring the knuckles to the center of the forehead. May we trust our own instincts to feel our own energies and the energies of those around us, but also to feel connected to the heavens. If you'd like to join me, the Love Enlighten Me honors the Seen Love Enlighten You. Thank you for allowing me to practice with you tonight. Namaste.